Last time we were looking at ways how trade can be promoted. So we have to discuss several ways how trade can be promoted. That trade can be promoted through some states, but several areas, but from some states, and they promoted through what we actually said about export financing, and I actually discussed what is export financing, and then what about even can be promoted through what is known as the foreign trade zones. The foreign trade zones are designated areas where trade has to take place. So that was that. And again, I still remember that after discussed about ways of promoting trade, we even went further to look at ways of restricting trade. So I actually said, though trade has to be promoted, but still countries looked at the trade as something that has to be restricted. So we actually got several ways of how trade has to be restricted, especially international trade. So we looked at one as tariff, as taxes that has to be imposed. So we have about several types of taxes. We have about a specific tax, compound tax, and we have about the transit tax or tariff. And then from there, again, we have about other types of tariffs, like the alcohol tariff, where we look at percentage that is calculated. So the percentage that is calculated based on the products that you have. They say the tax is 5%. That one is called annual head tariff. And then another part from the tariff, another way of restricting trade, actually say this by quota. So quota, actually define what quota is about. Say quota is just a limit that is put aside that on import or export of commodities. So when that limit is put forward, that restriction in form of limit, because that one has quota, and actually other countries have been doing this the quota system. But again, we have to look at types of quotas, we have to look at the input quota, and we have to look at the export quota, where import quota we say that sometimes restriction for limit has to be put on the goods that have to be imported, or sometimes the export quota, where things have to be put, especially when we look at the goods that have to be exported. So we have to look at all these types of quotas, and from there, I still remember that we have to look at other ways of restricting trade, and that one is through what is called the embargoes. The embargoes. When we talk about the embargoes, we are looking at the total ban of commodities, whether import or export. Say no, we are not allowing you to import, we are not allowing you to export. Sometimes governments do that. United States of America, once it did that, and in Malawi, there was a time we had to restrict, we had to say these commodities they should not come to the country. That is what is called the embargoes. And again, we have to look at the local content requirements and another aspect, and then we have to look at administrative delays and then currency control. But sometimes restriction can be done through imposing of aggressive interest rates, the currencies, the way we exchange. So that we will say if you want to import cars, I think there is that interest rate which has gone up, so there is that in currency conversion. So currency conversion actually control these restrictions on convertibility of currencies from one country to another. That's what we looked at last time. But today we are not looking at that. I think we have to make this ability. We have to at least we have to move forward. We have to move forward with our last lesson for this week and even for this half semester. And this is to do with the global trading system, the global trading system. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to know why global trading systems. What is this global trading system? What's the significance of these global trading systems? And they should be able again group out those that are involved in the global trading systems, like the GATT and the WTO. So we have group out these two. We'll be looking at these two areas, the GATT and the WTO, in detail. But we are starting with the global trading system. I have to at least give you a picture of what it is the global trading systems is all about. You see, remember, we are coming from global trading systems where we will look at, you see, there are other times, international trade has to go up and down, up and down, up and down because of other problems. That's why these global trading systems are coming. It can be up and down because of war. We had wars, First World War, Second World War, up and down because of bad economies of countries, governance and whatever. Countries are not doing well. So you have the economies has to go up and down, trade has to go up and down. Sometimes ships on. That's why these trading systems are coming in. And then, the world trade volume, if you look at the world trade volume, reached its peak around 1800. By 1800, if you look at, we're looking at this is just because of war. So, the world trade, it reached its peak around 1800. Around 1800 is when world trade had to go up. You see? Now, it had to go up only that, especially it went up because of United States of America. The United States, that country is a developed country. It's a developed country. Everything did very well way back, even in trade. So the trend, it was just going up, sort of like that. That's why one of the examples that we'll be talking much is about this United States of America, where in the United States of America, I mean, there was a time around 1930, they passed a bill in Parliament. They passed a bill in Parliament. And they called this bill as the Smooth Highway Act. Smooth Highway Act. They called this. That was in 1930. A bill was passed. A bill was passed in the United States. And this bill was named to be the Smooth Highway Act. Smooth Highway. Smooth Highway Act. Now, this act that was passed in the United States in 1930, this act was tabled after United States of America. They had just come from the First World War. And from the First World War, it began in 1940 and ended in 1980, where within that period of 1940 to 1980, trade was affected. A lot of things were not well. Things were totally bad worldwide. The whole world. Countries were silent. Could no longer think of trade. They were just thinking of their relatives who had died because of the war. So everything had totally gone down. And then, as after 1980, at least countries had a little bit coming up in trade until such 1930, when the United States of America, they had to table a bill concerning trade. And in this bill, they called it as a Smooth Highway Bill Act. This bill was enacted by the majority of the United States members of Parliament. It was tabled. And the bill, especially this big bill, the aim for the bill was there to protect countries against trade and to protect global countries. Guys, let's protect each other. Let's do trade and let's do this trade very amicably, protecting countries against on trade. So the act settled around after round of competitiveness. At least when they thought of sometimes this act, it came into existence when they looked at sometimes again tariffs, taxes, they were being imposed based on competitiveness. Other countries will impose tax heavily, other countries will impose tax not heavily. So there was that competition in terms of taxes. The fact that there were this competition in terms of taxes, countries like United States had to say, guys, let's make, no, we are countries. Let's just make sure that everything is working to us in a reasonable way. And then you find that after that, again, within the very same act, when they were tabling this act in the United States, they talked much about people. They say, guys, we are here, right? We are becoming poor. Why? Because we are importing more to other countries. Let's restrict this import. Let's restrict exporting commodities more. Let us be using some of these resources in our countries. So again, these issues were within the Highway Act. Were within the Act. So that there was the issue of protectionism, that is, in terms of trade, there was the issue of restricting imports and exports. And not only that, by that time, when they were discussing about this, the Smooth Highway Act, they again looked at that economies of countries were crippled. Most of the economies of the countries were crippled, in the sense that, you see, there were depression. What about the depression? It means we are looking at that if you are looking at that, if this is the graph of economy, depression is this side here. We are looking at this side. That there were other times when the economies were totally down. So in that is when now they say, no, guys, let's now table so that we avoid this issue of depression. Living standards of individuals worldwide were again affected because of devastation of economies throughout. Therefore, there led to the formation of these global trading systems. Global trading systems, there were systems put aside. And these systems, countries had to say, let's just follow, let's join, let's work together based on the system. And we are going to worry, what are these systems? But these systems started way back because countries had to discuss, had to talk about it. So they had to talk way back, they had to look at, they had to visualize. You see, sometimes, when the problem has come, you visualize, you look back. What made this problem to come? So you say this one, this one. You analyze. After analyzing, so you come up with the solution. That's why in the United States, after seeing that the economies were totally people, were totally under the depression, it was depressed. People were not living happily. Your trade had been affected greatly. So they sat and then they discussed, and then after discuss, then they came up with the resolution and they came up with an act. That's why they call it the Smooth Highway Act. And then looking at that act, then within the act is when they agreed that if such is the case, that remember this in the United States. If this is the case, why can't we form general agreements with among countries? Why can't we amalgamate, come together, and then we think over that and then we talk about it? Countries sit down together and we do one thing. Therefore, this led to the formation of GATT. GATT is General Agreement on Trade, on tariff and trade. So formation of GATT is coming in. Formation of GATT is coming. So I've talked about the Smooth Highway Act, restriction of imports, devastation of economy, now this led to the formation of GATT. That's coming in, and this is the General Agreement on Tariff and Trade. GATT. General Agreement on Tariff and Trade. Right. We are starting with this issue of that after the attitude towards what was called the free trade. This attitude of changing from free trade to real trade. Now, free trade actually happened long time. There was a free trade. In free trade, countries were just allowed to trade freely without imposition of tariff. Countries had to allow individuals to move with their product without any restrictions. The fact that there were no restrictions, then this was referred to as free trade. So free trade, we are looking at the trade without restrictions among nations. But this was just talked about quite well. So the formation of GATT had to look at that countries were involved in free trade. So that the agreements among nations, they had to look at this free trade. Are we benefiting anything from free trade? Is it that we are getting real stuff from free trade? Then this now issue of the free trade raised several questions among nations that why can't we abolish this free trade? And then this formation of that now is coming in. Again, as I actually said already, GATT is coming in after world economies have been affected greatly. World economies have been affected by wars. Now, we are looking at these wars in two categories. We are looking at First World War, and then we are looking at Second World War. So we have First World War, and then Second World War. So within the Second World War, because this Second World War started in around 1939 and ended in 1945. You see, after this war, the Second War, again the nations have to sit down. Guys, we are coming from war. What have we benefited? Nothing. Where are we in terms of trade? Zero. Have we benefited anything? No. Is there any outcome that we have obtained after this war? No. Where are we in trade? We are still under depression. Now, the fact that they had to analyze the Second World War is when now this general agreement on trade and tariff is coming in. So the agreement of general trade and tariff is coming in. Now look at this one, GATT was formed in 1947. GATT is formed in 1947. So if you look at 1947, we are just starting from 1945 after the Second World War. After the Second World War is when now GATT is now formed. Now GATT is formed in 1947. Formed in 1947. It is formed with the help of the United States of America after they had analyzed the situation on the trade. So they are saying we are forming GATT. So GATT was formed in 1949-47. By that time when they were forming GATT, there were only 23 nations that were involved. So 23 countries had been joined in 1947. There were 23 nations. Out of the 23 nations or countries, 11 of them, look at 12 of them were from developed countries, and then 11 were from developing economies. So 12 were from developed countries, and then 11 were from developing nations. Developing economies. We are coming from the developing economies. What do we mean? What that says that when they were forming the general agreement on the trade and tariff in 1947, 12 countries were already developed ones, were big nations. You talk of the United States of America, you talk of Britain, you talk of what superpowers, 12 nations. But 11 were small nations that were just coming from poor nations, developing economies. Poor ones, poor ones, they were living on them. They had to join. So they had their own aid. That had its own aid. So after that one, you discover that they had after forming in January 1948 now, is when now they put everything into practice. Or convention 1947. But putting everything into practice, it was in 1948. Is when everything now had to be put that one into practice. That now let's start making it very well. That had been very successful in the early years of its formation. It was very, very perfect in the early years of its formation, especially because it worked between 1947 to 1988. Between 1947 to 1988 is when it worked. Between 1947 to 1988. Hope 1988. Some of you were already born. So within that year, 1947, 1988, is when everything now had worked. And after evaluating, indeed they noticed that indeed God helped to reduce average tariff from 40% to 5%. So they evaluated. In other words, period from this up to that period, these guys they had to evaluate, they had to assess, evaluate. After assessing, they discovered that tariff, which is the tax, had been reduced during their office of tenure, has been reduced from 40% to 5%, which means there was an achievement. Although the period is very long, because we are talking about 1947 to 1988. When they assessed that one, they said, yes, indeed, we achieved what we wanted to achieve because tax has been reduced from 40% to 5%. That's a very great achievement. But though it's a great achievement, look at the years. The years are so many. You look, if you subtract how many years have gone out of that, it's close to about 40 something years. About 40 years. But that's talking about that tariff has been reduced. And again, if you look at that one, by the middle of 1980s, again, there were, countries had looked at that, indeed, their economies were at least somewhere. So the economies were somewhere, it was sort of like that, it was at least beginning to go up, just because of the formation of the GATT, General Agreement on Trade and Tariff. The word tariff and trade means that there was an agreement. Countries were to say, guys, because you are within this the agreement, let's agree. What should we do? So countries had to sit down and to just they had to fine tune some of the rules and the regulations. They had to at least talk more on this and had to find ways of making this work very, very, very well. So everything had to go on well up to the time when it was around 1986 is when now they thought of revising. Around 1986, they thought of revising. They had now to start saying, hey, you know something, when it is an only thing, people now, the countries, people they tend to revise it because hey, this is very old. So the people had to say, around 1986 now, 1982, they had started talking about it that it started a lot of times. And there are other, though it had helped in the tariff, but there are other things which this agreement is lacking. There are too much faults. And again, they were looking at it that it was not growing. Nations were, I don't know, nations were not doing it. And then that sit down and this thing is not working at all. It's working, but it's not working to its thing. Why can't we revamp? Why can't we make fine tune it? Why can't we change it? So they started now to negotiate and talks. They had to look at the talks. And then the first talk that they talked much about it is they started this talk at what is called Uruguay round of negotiations. So that say something that to discuss about how that has been working, has been doing. They have looked at successes and failures at what is known as the Uruguay round of negotiation. Uruguay round of negotiation. Now, at the Uruguay round of negotiation, I'm not teaching you history here. Take note of that. I'm just giving you a flashback of how these global trading systems came into existence. How they came into existence. Now, at the round of negotiations, they had to talk about, they had to talk about, especially members themselves had to put out their views, had to say something about God as out there as on their views. And they noticed weaknesses of God. They noticed weaknesses of God. Especially this round negotiation in Dubai, because that was in 1986 when they started talking about that one. 1986. They resolved within that. They resolved that, guys, this guy has taken about 40 years now, but the achievement is not to its satisfaction. They were looking at the significance of God, and they discovered that again it looked other areas. It looked other areas. Some of the areas that God did not address was something on the agreement on service. Agreement on service. One. In other words, there is actually noticed that although there was a reduction in the barrier, especially when we talk about this trade, reduction in the barrier, still more, the negotiation modified original GATT treaties in several important ways, like general agreement on service. They are to talk much on agreement on service. Agreement on service. So on the agreement on service, what they actually talk much, they talk much about the importance of other services that were rendered by God. It's like the health services, like the tariff itself, and many more services. The cross-border supply services, the consumption abroad services, the commercial services. So they were just looking at services. And when they discussed, because they are discussing in one, heads of nations, president has to sit down with prime ministers, and to sit down to discuss, guys, it has got achieved from the way we started in 1946 up to this time. No, there were other services that these guys are not doing well. So they talked about that one. The second one is about agreement on intellectual property. They actually say, again, agreement on intellectual property. These people, they haven't done anything well, especially when we talk about that on the agreement on intellectual property. Right? People were not able to show off their talents and abilities to other nations. Say, that is only what it has done is only for trade. But when we help people about their intellectual property and help them that they can ability to understand and what people achieve, like exposing what, it has not helped us. Yeah? Yes, it has not helped us. It hasn't helped us on agreement on services, other services, but again, on the intellectual part, God hasn't helped us at all. Therefore, we have to look at that again. They have to say, if such is the case, then it hasn't done very well. And then from there again, God was looked at that apart from what it has done, but it hasn't said something. It has said a little. It has just at least it has shown us that it has failed in that part. It hasn't addressed much on the agricultural subscale. It hasn't said much about that. It's just only talking about trade. Don't import or don't do this. But this area here, again, is not addressed well on agricultural subscale. Therefore, they say that if such is the case, then other nations started to pull out. We are pulling out. We are pulling out. We are living now. We are living. We are taking our membership. We are taking out our membership. We are moving away from them. We are moving away from them. We are moving away from them. So a lot of nations are now, there was sort of like disorganized. They were disorganized. Nations had to go there, another nation had to go there, another had to go there, another nation had to go there. Say, no, I think we cannot do it. Let's just go the other side. Let's go the other side. Let's go the other side. Where we are just taking our membership, we are withdrawing our membership from you. We are now, will be now doing our own things. Now, after that, then that led to the formation of now another body, and this is what is called World Trade Organization, replacing that because nations had to pull out. Nations had to pull out because God hasn't done its services well. It lacked other services to be addressed. Therefore, the formation of World Trade Organization came into existence because God failed to address other issues pertaining to trade. So WTO is coming in as World Trade Organization. WTO, again replacing that. Before we look at the formation of WTO, which just came very recently in around 1980s. 1980s. WTO is coming in. It's coming in to sort out the problems of that. The WTO now is coming into existence. Say, now, let me